What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So as you might have read from the title, today's topic will actually be quite different from what I would normally talk about. Today I'm going to talk about game addiction, and that is for two reasons. The first one is that this topic has kept me interested in it for quite a while now. Pretty much for about 5 years maybe, when I really started getting into gaming, you know, when I bought my PlayStation 3. I can say I really started to get much deeper into gaming, and I wanted to know more and more about it. And game addiction is one of those topics that really has kept me thinking about it for a long time, because every now and then you would see, news sites or just on television or whatever reporting on it, and like I said, every now and then there would just be articles about it, and I think it definitely evokes some interesting thoughts, for me at least. And the second reason is actually that I am doing this, kind of research project at school. And now we could all choose our own topics, and I chose for the topic of game addiction. So at the same time, I would quickly like to ask you that there's a survey linked on top of the description here. It would be great if you could quickly fill it out. Maybe it's even better to just fill it out, like now immediately, before even watching the video, hearing my thoughts on it, because it makes sure that you answer everything in a very unbiased way, I guess. That I won't influence your thoughts maybe in any way. That would be the best, right? So maybe, if you could go ahead and fill that out, it would be great. You would help me with my research, and your answers, anonymously of course, will actually be featured in that report. So yeah, I mean, it would be great if you could quickly go ahead and fill that in. But for now, game addiction. Now, does game addiction actually exist? I think it definitely does. I mean, to kind of like give you my personal experience, I'm not ashamed of saying it, but I think that around maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I actually got quite addicted to games. I have to be very honest there. There used to be a time period where I would be playing for, say, like 4-5 hours a day maybe, and I consider that to be quite a lot for somebody who is also in school and stuff. And it got to the point where some things suffered from that, like school grades and stuff, and I definitely wasn't happy about it. Now the funny thing is that since I started YouTube pretty much, which is about 2.5 years ago from now, actually that was pretty much the reason why my game addiction kind of disappeared. That's pretty funny, right? Because YouTube, I mean, I'm still talking about games, but I think the reason for that was pretty much because I started talking more about games and actually playing them. And nowadays, how much do I still play video games? Probably around 2 to 3 hours a day or something, just a healthy amount, I would say. I definitely don't see myself as an addict in any way or something. Like I said, these days I might even talk more about games than I actually play them. It's pretty funny, right? But at the same time, I am like, older people just don't get it. They don't get gaming. And when I see news sites reporting on something like this, I immediately notice how those kinds of people, they never play games. They still think that gaming is something like Tetris or Mario, or and by Mario of course I mean the old SNES Marios. They don't get what games these days are like. They still think of it as this really simple thing. Think of a Pong game or whatever. I mean, that's really what I still see. Even my parents or something, they don't get it. They still don't understand how it exactly works, and that there are games like, say, The Last of Us or Uncharted that bring this super cinematic experience, even can learn you some stuff, like, I don't know, say with The Last of Us, where the world is completely gone to hell, and you see, what impact that has, murder, rape, that kind of stuff, like these very mature themes. I really, don't think that a lot of people just get how this exactly all works, and what gaming is these days, why so many people are hooked to it, especially of the age category, of my age, or maybe a bit younger, a bit older, somewhere between 10 and 30 years old. That's where gaming is most popular, right? And I mean, that's definitely for a reason. It's just that a lot of people can't accept new things, new trends or something like that. That's really what it is. I mean, when I see the topic of violence in games being discussed, I think that's a very similar discussion where, say a guy of the age of 22 or something committed a murder, and they find out that he played video games. Immediately that's where they put the blame. The blame is on the video games, because, oh look, this boy plays violent games, of course he is going to commit this murder. That's totally the reason. when, you know, there's also been research done that pretty much says that 99% of the boys, you know, in America and Europe play video games these days. So I'm just like, you might have as well put the blame on the black socks he was wearing or something, because the chance of him wearing black socks is actually smaller than to find a guy playing video games, you know, like... It's just a bit, you know, it makes me a bit sad, to be honest, and a bit angry as well. I mean, I just really don't get it, to be honest. And, you know, when I visit my family, for example, you know, I get my grandmother asking me what I did on you know, say a Saturday or something, and I say, well, I've been playing this awesome game for like 6 hours. And they're like, 6 hours? Are you addicted or something? You know, they immediately respond with such... you know, such like, they just don't understand it, right? And I'm like, you know, when a game like The Last of Us comes out, of course I'm going to spend the full Saturday playing that game. I love that. That doesn't mean I'm immediately, you know, going to be addicted. When there's something that comes out and you've been really looking forward to it, of course you're going to play it for a very long time. And when I ask them what they've been doing on their Saturday, and they say, well, I've been reading the whole day, then I'm like, well, doesn't that make you a reading addict or something? You know, like, that's totally the conclusion I want to draw from this, is that game addiction definitely exists, but it is totally overblown by the media, and that is largely because, you know, the people working there still just don't get what a video game is these days, and what that means for the whole, you know, community, whole population, I guess. And then I would like to end the video with a quote very quickly, which comes from Douglas Adams, who was an English novelist, and he said, "Anything invented before your 15th birthday is the order of nature. That's how it should be. Anything invented between your 15th and 35th birthday is new and exciting, and you might get a career there. Anything invented after that day, however, is against nature and should be prohibited." And I think that totally concludes, you know, the topic and my thoughts on this. You know, like I said, I just think that it's always part of this, you know, newer generation and the complete ignorance of the previous generation. So with that being said, I mean, please fill out that survey once again. It would really mean a lot to me, and yeah, it would be great if I could have a lot of you know, results actually to use for my my research as well. And then for now, I'd like to thank you a lot for watching. Of course, let me know your thoughts on game addiction, and then I hope to see you again next time.